Hi, this is Alicia with thriftyandchic.com, and today I am going to share with you a really fun craft that is great for organizing and for home decor. I have made quite a few in the past month, only because I keep finding napkins that I am loving and want to try to see how they would work in these cute little dishes. So these are little Trinket dishes that I have been making. They are super simple to make. They take a little time just because of the drying, but they use napkins. Once you realize what and how many crafts you could create with decoupage and napkins, you will start hoarding napkins, I promise. So I find my napkins from TJ Maxx or from Amazon. These ones I just found at TJ Maxx. Look how pretty they are for $2. They were on clearance. And so most of these were from either one of those sources. These ones, this is one of my favorite ones. This was an Amazon find. And so I use these as trinket dishes for like my jewelry or for my car keys. I also, since I've been making so many, I realized they would look really cute as candle holders. And so I've been using some throughout my house for candles. So I am going to share with you the tutorial on how to make these. So get your supplies and let's get creating.
All right, first step is to get your clay. I like to use this DOS air dry clay. It's super great. It's in white, and you're going to get your rolling pin and you're going to get a bowl. Depending on what size you want your trinket dish, will depend on the bowl. I picked a somewhat small bowl. I covered it with cling wrap and smoothed out as much as I can of the cling wrap. Then I got a really good chunk of the clay and put it on some wax paper. I kneaded it and then rolled it out to about a 1/4 inch thick with my rolling pin. I did it just big enough to cover the bowl that I was putting it on. So I placed it on the bowl. I kind of smoothed it out with my hands as much as I can. I flattened the bottom as well as I can so it would sit down on a table once it was dried. And then I went through with my fingers, kind of smoothed it out, and then grabbed a knife. I just grabbed a broken knife from my kitchen. You could do X-Acto knives or clay knives for this. Just go up and down, creating like kind of like a rounded, curved or scallop edge. There's no rhyme or reason to this. Kind of just end where you do. Sometimes you have to redo it if it ended weird. And now you're going to go through it with your finger and just smooth out the edge. You'll see that it's really rough in a lot of spots. And so just work the clay and smooth it out as best as you can. This is also a point where you would be able to smooth out like the peaks kind of from where the scalloped edges are. Sometimes they might be a little bit more sharp and you want to have a more round edge. It also helps a lot to dip your finger in some water and smooth it out with that. And so once you're done with the edges, also work on the bowl itself. That is the part that you're going to be seeing is the outside of the bowl. When you are done with that, you're going to let it dry for 24 to 48 hours and then work it off, kind of twisting and pulling, and it will come off. Takes some time sometimes, and now you'll see that you have still a pretty rough edge. So we're going to fix that rough edge with some fine grit sandpaper. So just carefully go over the edge with the sandpaper and smooth it out. Now we are going to get to the fun part. Grab your napkin and take off the top ply. You're going to want to just use the pattern part, throw away the white part. Now you're going to cut it in a somewhat of a circle shape, a little bit bigger than your clay bowl. At this point, make sure that it fits in there, trim it a little bit more. It's easier to work with when it's a little bit smaller. Put in a small amount of Mod Podge medium into your clay bowl. Make sure the clay bowl is dry. And then you're going to place the napkin into the bowl and smooth out any wrinkles as careful as you can, because sometimes this will tear if you aren't careful enough. And now go through with the scissors again and kind of trim it up a little bit more and wait for this to dry. Next step is to get the paper, the sandpaper again, and take off any of the excess that has gone over the rim. You kind of work against the rim at this point in order to take the paper off and create that really good, smooth, crisp cut right there with the napkin. When that's all done, you're going to get some Mod Podge medium once again and put it on there. Do a small coat. You could do a couple coats after this. Just wait for the coats to dry in between time and get a really good kind of lacquer shine on that. And now it's time for the rub and buff. I put the rub and buff on the edge first using a soft paintbrush Depending on the edge, you might want to transfer it with a sponge, or I kind of use my finger too. When that's all done, flip it over and do the whole back with the rub and buff. You can also choose to paint this if you like, or just leave it white. If you leave it white, I would suggest probably putting a finish, even like the Mod Podge back on it. And when you are done with the rub and buff, kind of go back through even with the paint and fill in all those spots that you might have missed, because you'll notice them. Trust me, you'll probably even notice them in this video as well. When that's all done, you have this beautiful trinket dish that's ready to go. So I like to use mine on my nightstand to put my rings on at night. I also use them for my keys on my entryway table. It adds that little pop as well. And I've been using them for my candles. They are this cutest little tray for your candles. So be sure to check back for more do-it-yourself and decor videos, or go to my website, thriftyandchic.com.